was like, meditate, and hung up the phone. Boom. I was like, what? Meditate? How the fuck meditation gonna save me? I'm effed up. Oh man. At that moment, that's when I got up. I was like, you know what? It's time to go and do this. It's time to go and do this. So I walk in my room, and when I walk in my room, to the right is where my gun is. It's in my closet. I got a towel covered up over it. Got a bullet out sitting on the outside of the gun, but I already loaded the gun with another bullet, just one in the chamber. And I've been practicing. I've been practicing pulling the trigger on myself. Put the barrel underneath my neck, pull the trigger like, let's go, we got this. That was day 1 and day 2. So day 3, so like I said, to the right is in my closet. To the left, I'm looking to the left, and there's my meditation pillow, and it got like a little light beaming on it. I'm like, oh hell no, God! Like, what you doing, man? You tripping? Like, just let me go and do this. Just let me go and do this. And so, at the monastery, you meditate 3 times a day for 1 hour, each session. And so, I was just like, all right. So you know what? All this meditation stuff, whatever. I don't see how it's gonna save me or whatever else. But I was just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down for an hour, and that's it. And if nothing happens, it's time for me to do my thing. And so, man, I sat down, and that was like one of the toughest meditations that I ever had in my life. And the reason why is because I had to sit through my shame, through my embarrassment, through, me letting my family down. And I ain't let nobody down. Everybody was happy that I even made it to the league. But I felt like I let myself down. Like I didn't do what I wanted to do. And man, it was so tough just sitting with my own thoughts, sitting with myself, facing myself. And at the last, the meditation was so tough. I was sweating, and I was just trying to fight it. I was just like, get up, just get up, just get up. My mom was telling me to get up, and I had my timer on. The last 3 minutes of my meditation, I was just like, man, like, just sit down and just stay seated. And I forced myself to do that, man. I disciplined myself to do that, and then all of a sudden, that last exhale that I gave myself, man, my legs just gave out from underneath me. I had them in the crisscross position, and they just fell. My knees, the outside of my knees, just fell to the ground, just gave way. Boom. And when it did, like, energy just shot straight up into my body, like into my mind. Like, I was like, it's like, where am I? And all I hear is a voice, or it's my voice. It's just like, what you doing? And the first 2 responses, I was like, I'm about to kill myself. And then the third time is like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I'm about to kill myself. And the timer went off. It was like, ding, ding, ding. And whatever space that I was in, I got vacuumed out of it. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, what was that? What was that? And man, tears just started streaming down my face. And that's why I go so hard when it comes to, like, talking about meditation, when it comes about when we talk about being aware, like, all of it. I saw everything within that small amount of time, and from that point on, I had unloaded my gun. I put everything away. I was just like, whatever that was, I'm going to be chasing that, or I'm going to be in that for the rest of my life.
Welcome to the Eat Cypher. Flow harder than the hands on Peter Piper. And now we would like to introduce you to your rivals. It's like Ali and Tyson. The hook miss with the liking. Show nothing, Mr. Bison, Maximus and Leonidas. You were in the booth with Titans, goons, goblins, and Vikings. It ain't really nothing like us.
Yo, welcome back. It's your boy Courtney Anderson, aka Big C, one half of the Lit Code podcast with Edgar Jones. The podcast where the menu is short and sweet, but there's plenty for your mind to eat. Look, we back at y'all with a brand new episode, right? Now, we do have a special guest, but I won't introduce him because this is Edgar's personal friend, personal compadre. But first, before we get to that, I want to thank each and every person that listens via audio, that watches our videos, YouTube, Facebook, where else I posted? TikTok. If you're listening on Ghana Podcast, what else we got? Spotify, Audible, whatever it is. We appreciate y'all. Last episode did really good. I have to apologize to everybody because my Facebook page has been restricted.
They kicked him out.
For saying something inappropriate.
They kicked him out because he attended Goon Goblins and Vikings University.
Yeah.
They kicked him.
Yeah, so anyway, we appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna let Edgar introduce our guest for today. And I want y'all to strap in because we're going from laughter to possibly tears and back. So let's get it.
Hey, appreciate you. Hey, once again, y'all, thank y'all for the support. We definitely appreciate it. Man, I'm excited today for this individual that we have on. It's really just this relationship that me and him have with each other. You know, we don't talk all the time, but when we talk, it's very organic. It's very genuine. And the part I'm going to tell you about this individual, how we connected, I really don't want to talk too much about that because there's so much more to him than that. Our connection is we play with each other with the Baltimore Ravens. But outside of that, a great man, a genuine soul, a husband, a father, a brother to many. A lot of people call him a brother. The founder of Game Beyond the Game, the author of Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, and just a great human being all around. Prince Daniels Jr.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, fellas? Man, I feel like I probably need to pick my microphone up. I feel like, channel my Draymond Green. How y'all doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, I am extremely blessed, man. I'm complete, man. I'm whole. Mm-hmm. At the age 39, I realized like, oh, okay, this is what life. This is the journey that you need to be on in life. And, we on an infinite journey, but I'm still, like, I just feel so much joy right now in my life. Like, it's like I'm constantly staying aware, not being cautious, but just being aware, because I don't want this joy to just leave like this, man. But I've definitely found joy within myself, man, and I'm staying in it. So it's like I'm just in the zone, for the rest of my life, man. So man, that's how I'm doing, man. That's how I describe myself.
That's good to hear, bro. That's beautiful to hear you say that. Because I know for you to get to that place, you had to swim through some currents. You had to fall on some rocks. You had to you had some internal things and external things you had to deal with. But at the end of the day, it is always about the internal. But we can dive into that a little bit more. But just to hear you get there. So, Court, I'll let you go ahead because I know you got a question for.
Yeah, I do. But before I ask that question, I always like to pick up on key words, right? Something that our listeners probably have heard us say 100 times is awareness. And once you're aware, once you strengthen that awareness, Prince, I talk about it like the old video games. Remember, we'll create a player. Back in the day, you only had a certain amount you could use on different things, and we get on there, we'll turn speed all the way up, tackling all the way up, toughness all the way up, and we don't have nothing left for awareness. We put it on like a 20. And so now you got this missile, right? This heat-seeking missile out there that has no idea where to go. You know what I'm saying? He can't concentrate on the play, the running back missing the hole, your linebacker missing tackles, your DB playing run support, and it's obviously a Hail Mary. So That's how it is in life, though. Really, in reality, we can be souped up everywhere else. We can strengthen everything else, physical. We can look good, but we're not aware. We'll walk right out of here, head in the clouds, and get hit by a bus, and all that other stuff don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on that because we said awareness, and it seems like just from your introduction that you figured out this old avatar that we call a body in our human form. Yeah. It's a bigger piece of us that runs everything else, and once we understand that we have dominion over that, then the rest is kind of easy. Really, truly, I don't say it in a bragging way, but it really is sort of easy because you understand, even if it's adversity coming your way. Oh, that's my good friend, adversity. Now I know some growth somewhere around the corner, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy to see you, Mr. Adversity, because I know you got something for me. Anyway, so again, the name, I love to dive into names now. I told Edgar what his name meant a while ago. Studied what mine meant, my children's name, even though I didn't name them on purpose within it. It sounded good, right? And then now that I look it up later, they actually kind of embody what their names are. Mm-hmm. You know, Edgar actually kind of embodies what his name is. My dad, same way. But anyway, so Prince, and would you pronounce it for me again? The middle name.
Yeah, my middle name is Ahaji.
Ahaji.
Yeah.
Right. So
Prince Ahaji Daniels Jr. Yeah. You know, my father is from Ghana, man, and so you know, Ahaji is my last name in Ghana, and you know, in America you got to change your name around, you know, to something that people can pronounce, you know, but it means son of a king. That's what that's what Haji means. It means son of a king, man, and you know, like you said, you know, definitely live up to that. I've heard numerous times, you know, like I have lived up to my name and I have exceeded it, you know, and so that's a beautiful thing to get a compliment like that, man, because you know you're on the right path, you're doing something right, you know. There are a lot of people on this planet right now that are doing a whole bunch of BS, man, and you know, some toxic stuff, and they're not living right, they're not right. I'm not saying you got to be living righteous, but you need to be living at least rightful, so that way you can live to enjoy, you know, this life, man. Like, you know, like working all day, every day for somebody, that's not gonna do anything. You're not gonna be able to enjoy life. You know, if you're not relaxing, you're not enjoying life. If you're not using your mind for more than just a hat rack, you're not enjoying life, man. You know, so just all these little things, they add up, man. And just like what you were talking about, you know, creating that player, like, right? We're taught at a young age to just, you know, like strengthen that body, you know, especially if you're playing sports. And if we grow up in the black community as well, you know, strengthen that body. You know, yeah, schoolwork is cool. You gotta keep your grades up to play ball, but you know, it's that body. And later on, you start realizing, man, it's always been the mind. You know, it's always been the mind. And so, my name means son of a king. Let me go back to that. And strengthening your mind is just as important as strengthening your body, man. I just want to throw that out there. And I want to say first, thank you again. Thank you for having me on this podcast, man. I appreciate this. You know, it's time to get lit. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Corey, go ahead and tell them for Prince why we chose lit.
So lit. We took the word illuminated in thought is what it stands for, what the acronym stands for. Of course, our European brethren decided that the word illuminated wasn't a word anymore, so it's not. I guess it's illuminated now. We kept illuminated to call it lit, something that maybe the younger audience could grab a hold to. And what we basically the reason we basically named it that is because just like you just said, it ties right back into what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Where we're from, we're thought the only way you're lit is if you looking your best, you got the most money, you staying in the house you want, you got everything you want, you lit, everybody know it. But when all of that is stripped away, or if it is stripped away, and you're not lit mentally, then what do you have? So I know a lot of people with more money than all of us, right? But their mental isn't quite as lit as us, so they gotta call us when they're going down the path. You see what I'm saying? So money ain't everything, material stuff ain't everything. As a matter of fact, in most religions, it's always a period of time when that main character has to go off into the wilderness. He don't have nothing, he's just by himself, or she. And that's really when they become their riches. They figure out, it's when the light bulb pops and they're going through something and they figure out, okay, I didn't need none of that all along. Now, when they come back into it, it's way better than it was before. So that's why we chose the name Illuminated in Thought. And just a side bit, in case Edgar forgot, Edgar's name historically means wealthy spear, right? Now, Edgar's always been infatuated with weapons. This well before the Edgar you knew.
No, I already knew.
It used to be an old broken machete that my dad had at the house, right? And I always raised dogs and horses and stuff. And so Edgar would come out there and we'd be in the country. And the first thing he would grab, this old machete. And my dad had spray painted it white for some reason. And it didn't even have a handle on it. But he'd just be out there practicing breathing. Cutting down weeds and stuff. He was just infatuated with that weapon. He has what do you have? The helmet, the Greek warrior Spartan helmet. He's been infatuated with that. And when he did make it into the profession he made it into, fortunately and unfortunately, he jumped to be as far as wealthy, you know what I'm saying, as far as what he was earning at the time. So where we're from, you know, if you hear somebody say, man, he making $15 an hour down at the plant, that's good. We're from rural South, right? It's what 3,500 people where we're from now. The biggest industry is cotton gins and aluminum plants. So it actually all kind of fit in, right? And we call each other lichens and warrior and all this different type of stuff. So the name actually fit. Mine would mean brother. And I have 2 biological brothers, but Edgar can tell you, I have at least 10 people that call me and believe we believe that we're brothers. If they talking to you, they're gonna say my brother Courtney or Conrad or Big C. So it's just kind of funny because I know, and Willie was just naming him after his father, and my dad was named me after one of his best friends that was killed in a motorcycle accident. They weren't thinking that these names meant what they meant. It wasn't deliberate, but universally, right, it came to pass that we started to live up to those names. So I just want to touch on that part. So behind you, we see your book, Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, right? Mastering the balance between power and peace. And it's actually forwarded by none other than Calvin Megatron Johnson, right? I'm sure everybody.
Mr. Hall of Famer. All right, I'm sure everybody was just like, how much he pay for that? How much? Actually, it's my blood, sweat, and tears, man. Just you know, you get a lot of respect from people when you give respect, man, and when you're in this game called football, you know, like you gotta earn your respect, and you gotta let people know, look, I'm not afraid of nothing. Like I came here just like you, I put my pants on just like you. You ain't no different than me. You don't go in no phone booth and put on no cape and some tights. You know, like no, we out here to grind and get it. And so, you have as as our boy Armand Gordon can say, you have locker room buddies,
and then you have friends for life. And so CJ is one of those people, man. Friends for life, man. It's my brother as well. And so I told him I was writing the book, man. And he was just like, man, he was like, let me check it out. He hit me back. He's like, let me write the foreword for you. I was like, shoot. I was like, you shoot. I was trying to give him the whole book. I was like, yeah, man, go. So I was really excited about it, man, and honored, and so for him to forward the book, he read through the whole book. He was just like, bro, he was like, this is everything that I've been wanting to say, man. He was just like, he said, I got you. Wrote the forward up in like 2 days and sent it back to me. I was like, you want to make any changes? He's like, I'm good. I was like, just like Megatron. I was like, do things once and that's it. Just like this dude right here, solid, man. So just good to have people like that, around you on your team, man, and in your family, man. So yeah.
What Prince, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When we play with each other, everybody in the locker room call you PJ.
Right.
Coaches call you PJ.
Right.
Like, when did this shift happen for you to now that you went back to Prince, right? Like, don't call me Mike, it's Prince.
Right.
Like, something happened. What happened?
Man, that's a great question, Edgar. So to be honest, man, when we play ball, I end up having to retire early. That wasn't on my list. That wasn't in my plans. And I experienced a self-identity crisis, man. I was just like, what? I had all these skills, refined them. I'm feeling like a warrior, feeling like a creative player. We grinding day in, day out, man. And then all of a sudden, boom, my career is over. It's done. It's like, what? I was like, I'm still good to go. So I started working out like religiously. I worked out every single day. I worked out for 365 days. That was the first time ever in my life I worked out for 365 days. I did something on Saturdays and Sundays. Either it was yoga, it was something. And when I realized that I wasn't going to get a phone call after that whole year, I didn't get no phone call. I was like, what am I doing? What the hell is going on with me? Like, what end am I trying to meet? So, man, after that self-identity crisis, man, it went from self-identity crisis to a depression, to suicide ideation, to suicidal attempt, and from there, man, I was just like, I'm done. I'm spent. I don't even know what's left, and then on top of that, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed, that I was out the league. I was out the league. People was like, you should go back to you should go to CFL. I was like, CFL? I was like, see these nuts. I was like, what? I was just like, I ain't for it, man. Like, come on, man, CFL. So, from there, man, I was just searching. I was searching for something, and the beautiful thing is, I have two uncles. So I was fortunate enough to follow in the footsteps of my uncles, and they would go to this monastery, and they would come back from the monastery and they'd be glowing like Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. Yeah, I'm talking about show enough. I'm talking about like a real glow. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? Like, how am I able to see this? And so for me, I used to watch a lot of those cartoons that people saw as cartoons, but for me, it was talking to me. Every time they say something, throw a little nugget out. I was like, did y'all get that? Did y'all, watching it with my friends, they like, man, shut up, P, shut up, man. I'm like, dog, no, listen to what they just said, and like I'll get that intense crown feeling like, I'm ringing everywhere. I'm like, wow, man, so I'm watching all these karate movies growing up, how they have those real deep thoughts and sayings, so for me, I was just like, man, like I want that. So I decided to go to the monastery because, I really didn't have any more lifelines left. And fortunately, I had been going to the monastery. I think I went to the monastery going into my third or second or third year, I started going to the monastery while I was in the league.
Really?
And yeah, I started going to the monastery then, man. And
where
you
were
know,
you at that time? You was in Beemore.
yeah, it's a bit more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I started going to the monastery, and the thing about it was, if I would have had just a little bit more of it, I would have been able to sustain myself and be able to do what I needed to do. But I was so emotionally charged just from everything, just not being able to play, being in the locker room. Your emotions get the best of you, man. You trying to fight everybody. You trying to get a spot on the team. You just trying to do whatever that you can, man. It's just crazy. Yeah. And so I ended up going to the monastery. Once I went to the monastery, I started. I lived there for 6 months, and I had to remember who the hell I was, because I was just like, first I was like, yeah, I'm the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, PJ Daniels. No, you ain't no football players first and your name second. I had to realize, like, it's time for me to call myself Prince. And so the guru at the monastery, he was just like, your name is Prince. I was just like, damn. And so from that point on, man, that's when I took it on, because I was searching for an identity. The identity was in me, and so and that's what we have a tough time really understanding, man. It's just like, you searching for something outside of you, searching for something outside of you, searching for God outside of you, you searching for this outside of you. All that's inside of you. God is inside of you. Your name is inside of you. Who you are is inside of you. It's all inside of you. But people tell you, look up in the sky and pray, but like, you ain't praying to nothing out there. You got to do it within, because it's what the thing I call your energy, your INNER capital G, your inner God, your inner goddess, your inner good, your inner greatness, your inner guide, all of that. That's inside of you. And so once you connect with the micro energy, the smaller G inside of you, you connect to the macro energy that's outside of us, that has created all of this that we are living in. So that's when, I started calling myself Prince, man.
Good, great.
Man,
no.
Strike. Hey,
So-
wait a minute. First, let me say this, because I didn't say this. The first reason why me and PJ connected with each other, and Court brought me back to this when he talked about Spear. I've been around a lot of running backs, but PJ was one of the running backs that in one-on-ones or inside or anything that he did, he had a defensive mentality. So it was no bagging down. That just wasn't what he did on the field. It was his work ethic off the field. Like, everything that he did, he gave his all to. So for me to hear you say this in this journey that you own, bro, I can see and I understand and I know how determined and how passionate and the energy that you've given to this to get to this place, because anytime that I was around you, and I had no idea that you was doing that, we play ball, but football is going so fast. By the time we get a chance to talk about the tuna melt sandwich you just ate by Manny, the coach blowing a whistle, it's time to go to the next drill, and we're always moving. So I had no idea that you was doing it, but I wanted to say that, dude, that's the first thing that I respected about you. And then just off the field, even in the middle, you dealing with all that, PJ, bro, you still had a light about you. You know what I'm saying? You still display love. Like, when I was around you, I felt like I was safe, like I was good, So, and I don't know how many people that shared that with you, but you did that, brother. You did. In the middle of all that turmoil that you had inside that you was battling with, you know what I'm saying? You still spread the love and that light to people, man. One thing I'll say this about football, Court, and I'll get you to your question you had. PJ, I think me and you talked about this a couple of days ago. There's a difference between football players and basketball players. The physicality side of them, different athletes on what they do on the court and what we do on the field. I mean, there's probably been some football players that probably could have played a DN. I mean, you think about what's the power forward back in the day from Detroit? Court.
Tractor trailer.
No, not tractor trailer. The Pistons. He had the Afro light skin, number 30. I can't think of his name. Rasheed Wallace could play DN. Anyway, there's a difference.
You got Peppers.
You got Peppers.
They played it.
Yeah. Peppers did as well, right? So, but there's a difference. But what I'm saying is that when you see basketball players, you can see them on the court. From head to toe, right? Like they're visible in front of you. You can see their face. You see everything about them. Football players, you can't see really anything about us when we on the field because we have our mask, we have our helmet, right? Like, and you always hear cats talk about this is, man, once I put my helmet on, I'm in my moment, I'm in my space. I turn into a different person. Well, the thing about that is football taught us how to hide well. Football taught us how to be masters of disguise, man. It really, really did. You know, first, they teach you that this aggression is okay, right? This behavior is okay. And you can go along with it. And this is how you should act. And then these explicit words that they say to you, right? And then not only that, after when they have those type of conversations with you, right? You never are taught on how to cope with things in a healthy way. You always taught on how to cope with things in the way of anger and frustration and whoop his ass and get it out. Boom, boom. So really what you start to think is that's the normal way of operating, you know, and you don't have time to process these emotions that you're dealing with because as soon as you're irritated about something, the whistle's blowing to go to the next thing. So you're constantly in a state of moving. You're not in a state of being still. It's rare that you're really sitting still in sports. I mean, even when you go to your apartment, when I went to my apartment, man, my mom was racing so many thousands of miles because I had to make that roster, competing, I'm fighting for this spot. But anyway, when you put the helmet on, you can learn how to be a master of disguise. So I learned how to do that. So I'm with you, PJ, on that. Like putting that helmet on, it was just escape, right? But now, like when the helmet came off, the helmet couldn't go on no more. But then I started thinking for me, I started putting other helmets on. I put helmets on of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? That was my other helmet I put on. I put helmets on of the pain pills when I got out of the league. You know, that was my other helmet I put on. So it made me start to think like, what is your helmet that you put on to disguise and hide yourself? That you think is protecting you, but the helmet really didn't protect us. On top of the brain trauma side of it, you think it is. But to hear you say that of that journey that you went on and what you had to go through and deal with, and the courage that it took for you to do that, brother. It took a lot.
No, I was down to my last few minutes before I was about to take my life. I was down to my last few minutes, and I only did it out of curiosity. I had called, so the day I was, because I put together a 3-day plan to kill myself. And the last day, I had loaded my gun. You know, I woke up that morning and I was just like, I woke up with the same spirit that I had when I was playing ball. I had convinced myself that I was about to kill myself and it was going to be a cool ass thing to do. You know, like I knew it was going to be violent and you know, and grotesque. But, you know, that's what we was taught. Like you said, Eker. Like, you know, violence is the key. So I woke up, I never forget when it was like when I woke up, my eyes popped open. I was like, yeah, nigga about to kill himself. Oh yeah, I'm about to kill myself. I'm good. Oh yeah. I was like, yeah, like I started thinking about how my mom would feel. And I was like, no, man, fuck that. I'm gonna throw that shit off. You know, like you good. She'll be all right, you know. And I that morning I ended up calling 7 people. I called one of the people that I called her L.I.T. Called her L.I.T. And that was for the first time I felt myself like get excited. I just talked to him probably for only 3 minutes, maybe 5. And he's like, "What's up, man? How you doing, P? You know, miss you, bro. You know." And then like I was down, and when I talked to him, like I got up, I got excited, I started feeling happy, you know, for the first time in like 3 months. And then he was like, "I gotta go, bro. Gotta get to practice." Oh man, when he said that and he hung up, I'm talking about I went deeper than I was before the phone call, because it was just like, that's where I want to be, and I'm not there. And so anyway, I called him. I called a couple other people. I called one of my professors. I called my brother, my uncles, my mom, right? And nobody told me what I wanted to hear. Nobody told me what I wanted to hear. I didn't even know what I wanted to hear. I just knew that I needed to hear something, to, you know, like, it's gonna be okay. But see, I never told nobody what I was going through. I was just calling everybody. So the seventh phone call, don't even know why I made 7 phone calls, but on the 7th phone call, I called the guru at the monastery, and I just felt like I needed to open up, because I felt like, just like, okay, he the guru, what's up, like, all right, guru, what you gonna tell me? Like, this is how I was talking, this is how I was feeling. So I was just like, you know, I'm about to kill myself. I'm about to, you know, blow my head off. You know, like, I lost my job, I lost this, I lost that, I lost, you know, lost my woman, I just went down a list of all the things that I lost. And after I finished naming everything off, it was a deep pause. He didn't even respond. He didn't respond like this. It was just everything settled. And I remember I was tense. And it was just pure silence. And his response was, "Are you done?" I was like, huh? And I felt myself exhale for the first time. And he was just like, he has this saying, and I won't get into the saying, but, you know, but basically it's like you get what you are, you get what you pay for. You know, and that's according to your level of consciousness. And so after he said that, he was like, "Meditate, and hung up the phone. Boom. I was like, what? Meditate? How the fuck meditation gonna save me? I'm effed up. I'm oh man. At that moment, that's when I got up. I was like, you know what? It's time to go and do this. It's time to go and do this. So I walk in my room, and when I walk in my room, to the right is where my gun is. It's in my closet. I got a towel covered up over it. Got a bullet out sitting on the outside of the gun, but I already loaded the gun with another bullet, you know, just one in the chamber. And I've been practicing. Pulling the trigger on myself. Put the barrel underneath my neck, pull the trigger, like, let's go, we got this. You know, that was day 1 and day 2. So day 3, so like I said, to the right is my closet. To the left, I'm looking to the left, and there's my meditation pillow, and it got like a little light beaming on it. I'm like, oh hell no, God! Like, what you doing, man? You tripping? Like, just let me go and do this. And so, at the monastery, you meditate 3 times a day for 1 hour, each session. And so, I was just like, all right, so you know what? All this meditation stuff, whatever. I don't see how it's gonna save me or whatever else, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down for an hour, and that's it. And if nothing happens, it's time for me to do my thing. And so, man, I sat down, and that was like one of the toughest meditations that I ever had in my life. And the reason why is because I had to sit through my shame, through my embarrassment, through, you know, me letting my family down. And I ain't let nobody down. Everybody was happy that I even made it to the league. But I felt like I let myself down. Like, I didn't do what I wanted to do. And man, it was so tough just sitting with my own thoughts, sitting with myself, you know, facing myself. And at the last, the meditation was so tough. I was sweating, you know, and I was just trying to fight it. I was just like, get up, just get up, just get up. You know, my mom was telling me to get up, and I had my timer on. The last 3 minutes of my meditation, I was just like, man, like, just sit down, just stay seated. And I forced myself to do that, man. I disciplined myself to do that, and then all of a sudden, that last exhale that I gave myself, man, my legs just gave out from underneath me. I had them in the crisscross position, and they just fell. My knees, the outside of my knees, just fell to the ground, just gave way, boom. And when it did, like, energy just shot straight up into my body, like into my mind. Like, I was like, it's like, where am I? And all I hear is a voice, or it's my voice. You know, it's just like, what you doing? And the first two responses, I was like, I'm about to kill myself. And then the third time is like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I'm about to kill myself. And the timer went off. It was like, ding, ding, ding. And whatever space that I was in, I got vacuumed out of it. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, what was that? What was that? And man, tears just started streaming down my face. And that's why I go so hard when it comes to, like, talking about meditation, when it comes about when we talk about being aware, like, all of it. I saw everything within that small amount of time. And from that point on, I had unloaded my gun. I put everything away. I was just like, whatever that was, I'm going to be chasing that, or I'm going to be in that for the rest of my life. And that's how I'm here. That's how I got to here, man. So, like, man, this shit is real. You know, it's real. Like, according to you had mentioned, you know, in all the great religious stories, you know, that he or a male or a female go out, you know, sequester themselves from everything and, you know, go in the woods. Like, you know, I felt that way, man. I felt that I needed to go and find myself. And, you know, you do. And when you do, you connect with something and you can't go back. It's like muscle memory. Just, you never forget it. And from that point on, you just move forward. And the more curious you become, the more eager you become to acquire knowledge, acquire wisdom. And then you want to go deeper and deeper, and the deeper you go, the more you start to realize, like, hold on, man, all this is like a game. This is all like a game. You know, like, there's human beings creating ceilings for you, you know, and and them verbalizing, projecting the ceiling, the ceiling, and the words, because words are very, very powerful. You know, it limits how you think about yourself, how you see yourself, you know, how you act. And once I started becoming extremely conscious of that, man, I started becoming mindful of the words that I would use. Like, I don't allow anybody around me to say can't. I don't allow anybody around me to say trying. I stopped them in their mid-sentence. I was like, no. Either you doing or you not doing, but you can't be trying. You know, like, don't tell me that you can't do something. Tell me that you're not able to do it right now, but you're going to get to it. But your mind going to figure it out. Like, these are the things that we were conditioned to say. You know, like, now it's time to change that. You know, change what you say. Change how you say it. You know, approach it differently. Approach it with a different spirit, a mindset. Like, and know that it's going to happen, because you wasn't put here to try. Because if you're going to try something, you're going to be trying for the rest of your life. You was put here to do what you needed to do, and then once you do your thing, then you can be a human being. So, I know I got off subject with what I wanted to say, man. But I just wanted to say, man, like, I was at the verge of dying, and I realized that there's something that's inside of you, and once you learn how to connect with it, then, man, everything in your life, you'll start to realize, like, man, like, I am connected to God. Like, it ain't, you're not lost. you just looking in the wrong direction because somebody told you go, look up there, and you've been looking up there for the longest, and all you see is the sun and the sky and the clouds and the moon, and the stars, and you think that's far away, man. But when you look within, you realize that you connect to all of this. So just had to throw it out there.
You want to talk before I start? This is gonna be a while.
I just say this, man. Kind of going back to sports. Jay-Z got this old album called "The Gift and the Curse."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it was. It was a gift and a curse. And honestly, for each level you continue to go in life, there's a gift that comes with that, but there's also the flip side of what comes with that. And I think the more of what I was talking about, and really when I'm speaking to my athletes, of just learning how to deal with things well. That's the importance. Mm-hmm. Learning how to deal with those emotions in a healthy way. You know what I'm saying? Continue to keep doing your thing on the field, but understand you're more than that. You're more than that. You are way more than that. And then also learn how to deal with those emotions, that anger, that frustration, those emotions that were given to you, God-given. Deal with them in a healthy way.
Yep. So
go ahead, Mr. Court.
Yeah. Thank you. So first of all, words. We talk about words a lot, and you said that you were about to attempt to kill yourself, right? And I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're here alive, right? Talking to us. But in a way, I think you actually succeeded, because anciently, kill doesn't just mean to put to death. It also means to beat. It's a lot of words that we use now, and they mean certain things. People think virgin, if you go biblically, or Egyptian, the woman and the baby, both saying virgins. Virgin don't necessarily mean that you never had sex. It just means that woman was free of man or pure, meaning they may have spent some time alone between that time. Doesn't necessarily mean they were virgins. You just have to look up these words and see what they actually mean, right? Ergonai, since you're a guest on the podcast now, you can go back and watch. There's an episode that we have called "When Superman Becomes Clark Kent's Kryptonite." Basically, that this ego you've built. You don't have to be in football, it can be in life. You may have been molested or taken advantage of as a child, and you built this person that said, nobody ever do that to me again. And I'm gonna beat every single person that ever tries, and I'm gonna be this ultimate aggressive person. And then you get into a point of life where that no longer works. And you essentially have to kill that person off. And it's hard because he's saying, man, look where I got us. You know what I'm saying? I'm the reason you here. I'm the reason you beat that. I'm the reason nobody can play with you. Nobody can mess with you. See how strong we are because of me? And you're gonna try to take me out, right? You mentioned the number 3. You mentioned the number 7. 7 is my favorite number, the number of completion. That 7 call was the one that completed it, right? And put you in the mind space. This is what I gotta do, right? And then you walked into your room, you looked over, you got the gun, you got your pillow, a decision, right? You got a decision to make at that point. And at that point, nobody else, what you call God, what we call God, the devil, nobody else was in control of the decision. You were. I wrote a book also. I need to put it out. I finished it a year ago. It's called Understanding Your God. The U, the Y-O-U is capital, all caps, and the R on your is lowercase. So you can take it, you are, baby God, that's what you connected to, or understanding your gods, right? So at that point, you went to where you went to. You said, I'm about to kill myself. I'm about to kill myself slower. And then it took you out for that third one. 3 is our number of cycles, right? Birth, life, death, mind, body, soul. Right? It's all connected. You said you started going to the monastery, right? We break that word down. Monos, the Latin word monos means alone, right? right? We're trying to figure out how to turn on that God engine. I tell Edgar all the time, if you're looking for God or the devil, look in the mirror. That's where it's at. It's you. We're born with these energies. You take some from a baby, a toddler, before they can speak a word. You take some from them, they cry, they get mad, they scratch. That's anger. That's your darker side. It's our gremlin, right? You give it back to them. They're happy. They love you. They cool. You hug them. They pat you on the back. They don't know what love and hate is. We're born with it. We're born with a God energy and that other energy. You got to figure out how to turn it on, right? You take on out of monastery, what you got? Mastery, right? So once you turn it on, once you learn how to master that, right? Edgar can tell you, I've been infatuated with monks for a while. You know what I'm saying? It's something about being able to go into oneself. You mentioned meditation. I tell people all the time that you need to meditate, and they think it's that you need to have your meditation pillow, or some people think you got to float, you got to sit. You know what I'm saying? But it's not what it is at all. It just really means to concentrate on a thought process. We control our thoughts. Now, on the way to us creating whoever it is we are, we think we are, we feed ourselves a lot of stuff, right? We listen to certain types of music. You all talk about being football players. We got to be these tough guys, right? We have to, we watch certain movies and we think this is it. Like you said, it's going to be cool. Blood, violence, gore. I like that, right? And if we're not careful, before we even know what meditation is, we're meditating on those thoughts. That's building up that other side of us. It takes us a while. To me, religion and society, actually, when you're a baby, you're closer to your spiritual being than ever. And then as we get older, the stuff we take in and feed ourselves gets us away from that, right? At that moment, you had to meet that side of things that you hadn't been cultivating, right? And at the time, that other guy that you built was stronger, right? But that day, you beat him, and you came back out of it, and then you decided, as God of your own world, I like to talk about us as entities, you decided that's what I'm going after, and I'm going to cultivate this side now, right? Egg and I talked about the Gremlin movie on the episode previously, right? Those are 3 rules. Egg, if don't expose the Mongoloid to light.
Don't expose it to light.
Don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet, and don't feed it out to midnight.
That's it. So
That's it.
You do that, you will have a problem.
You got a problem. They gonna multiply.
How many rules was that? 3 of them. That's the cycle. But the first rule tells us how to beat this dark side. The only thing that can interrupt darkness is light, right? So it's telling you right there, if you want to kill it, expose it to light. And it says don't expose it to water. That means if you fertilize it, like I said, we've been cultivating that other side. You fertilize it, it's going to grow, and it's going to grow out of control. If you got a garden, you got to do all kind of stuff to get your crops to grow. Let a weed start. That weed, it'll go like that. And it's out of control. And then it said, don't feed it after midnight. I'm real particular about what I'm watching, what I'm doing before I go to sleep, because that's when we actually in that other realm, and stuff can continue to grow out of control. Also, our dark side is under the guise of darkness at night. So it feels like can't nobody see me. Y'all talked about putting the helmet on and hiding. That's where it's gonna grow at the most, because you can't see me in the dark. If you feeding it overnight, if you go to sleep in that thought process, when you wake up, guess what you're gonna start with?
That same process.
So that's how we grow out of control, right? And then we get to the point to where, again, you having that conversation, like, I want to go do this. I just want to be. I think I'm letting everybody down. That's the other you talking, right? Yeah, we are letting everybody down, but we don't need them, man. Look how far we came. I got you through the NFL. You think you would have got to the NFL without me? Without running into people like you do? You think you wouldn't have got all this without me? You want to kill me? You know what I'm saying? I'm Superman. Yeah. You just Clark Kent. Who you gonna be without me? Right? But the whole time, it was you anyway, right? It's just getting to the point where you can master that. I always tell Edgar, that dark side, it's got its place. We need it sometimes, right? You need it on the football field.
It's a natural balance.
Exactly. Somebody breaking your house right now. I don't want you Then they coming in there to kill you. I don't want you zenning out on them. Like,
if you're some Dragon Ball Z type,
yeah,
Right?
we need to
Even
attack.
still then, they get that. Yeah.
We need that. But Edgar said, a lot of times, man, I think of life as our lives as movies. We don't always get to watch our own movie. We can, but we normally don't till we turn that awareness on, right? So people can see stuff on us that we can't see. Mm-hmm. Edgar was around you in a dark space. He had probably talked to you while he was in the dark space, right? And didn't know it. He said it was always a light coming off of it. It's there, it's in us, but it don't matter until we know it. And once we know it and we turn it on and we lead with that, like you said, everything else, stuff that would have set you off back in the gap, it can't. You get to process that like that. Somebody talking noise, oh, he called me out my name. Yeah, he don't even know me. He can't be operating from where I'm operating from, right? We vibrate. We have energies that we're taught to get away from by society and religions, some religions. It depends on how you read into it. I think once man starts to give it to you in his own way, right, based on his life, it'll turn you away from that. But all the stories tell you that people go off alone, right? And that's all meditation is for our people, for our listeners out there. Getting alone in your mind. I don't care if you're in the middle of the mall. I do it all the time. If I need to meditate, I can do it in 5 seconds, right? And feel refreshed. If I feel certain stuff creeping up on me, I can do it. And everybody can. You just got to get to that process where we practice it, right? Where we make that a habit. We're habitual creatures. Edgar likes to say you discipline all the time, whether you're doing good or bad things. You just discipline in the other way, right? So now you got to be disciplined in doing this. You become what your habit is. You become a disciple of what you decide to do daily. And if you decide to fill yourself with this negative or follow that energy that you have, then you'll become a disciple of, right? A disciple of who? Yourself. You're baby God of your own world. That's what we really are. Even if you want to get religious on it, they say it. The kingdom of God exists within the person, and you got to accept them. So if you got to accept it, you know what I'm saying? What does that make you? Right? But we're not taught to think of self like that. Once you have that dominion, once you get along, you don't have to go to the building, to the monastery. It could be right there in that room with you. Once you get along and you turn that God engine on, you now become a master of self. And you master that, you can take on anything in the world. And none of us sitting here, right? You got two former NFL players here. People talk to look at you like a god anyway. That's what we do. You see y'all on TV, y'all warriors. I played football through high school and stopped. But we connected to warriors because it's the closest thing you got to the old Greek warriors, right? Everybody played in a helmet, right? They put that on. I'm here now. I got my arm on. I got my shield on. We warriors, right? And we get to play that out. You still can be a warrior. You still are. The reason I like football because it does teach us a lot of valuable lessons. But it also helps build that ego that we have to kill off. But it teaches you how to deal with adversity. It teaches you can't stay down and stuff because the whistle gonna blow and it's coming and that play coming again. And whether you just got ran over, hit stick or whatever, you can sit down there and cry about it if you want to, but they line it back up and there's another play coming. So it teaches us to, okay, get that on out of the way and get to the next thing. It's cool. You can meditate even in the middle of that play, you can meditate right quick and get on to the next thing. I want to commend you on killing yourself, right? The old self that you had to kill to be who we see now. I commend you on that. Everybody has to do that. None of us, I'm gonna give it back to you, but I was saying, nobody on here is more special than anybody listening. We weren't born into riches and With somebody, some came to touch us on our head, told we were the chosen one while we were younger, and that's why we can get into this mental space. We're not the smartest people. We're not the strongest people in the world, right? So that means anybody listening, anybody on the sound of my voice or watching this can tap into this same thing. You just got to be aware that both of those yous exist, right? You have access to both of those energies, and you get to choose which one you're gonna follow, which one you're gonna let lead your life. So kudos to you, man. Shout out to you.
It's lit. It's lit. Hey, I got a couple dollars for you, Courtney, man. That was a sermon, baby. I got tires for you, bro. Hey, man, I was just like, I'm about to get my Bible out and just follow him. What you said, Ecclesians? I'm just messing with you, man. But that was beautiful, bro. That was beautiful.
Hey,
appreciate you.
Hey, that's why he's my partner, bro. That's
right.
Before we even got on the lit code, it's just sitting on K Buck Lane on the back of his daddy's truck talking. I just scratch my head and be like, man, what you say again? Hey, get that.
He probably lean in. Like, what I was saying was, you got more than you. Like, man, all right, man. I got to go play football, dog.
Did he hit you with that T.I. Pimp C slight little voice? You be like, man, I'm confused. If I had a UGK video, I'm in a church right now.
Right.
My boy Sam and Scat say, hey man, you talked to Furious lately? I was like, call me Furious Styles off of Boys in the Hood. Or you gonna learn, Trey.
Oh man, that's too funny, dog.
You know, it's
go ahead, Edge.
PJ, man, you because I want to get into currently what you're doing now, the direction you're going into. But when we go back and you think about being one, being with yourself and getting to a place of just disconnecting to connect. Yeah. My wife is pregnant now. We are having a baby girl in September.
Congratulations, bro. Appreciate
you. Thank you. So it's funny because
Boricua.
Yeah. Paying attention to her in this pregnancy and me in my stage of my life I'm in now with the mindfulness, the meditation, really taking the time out for myself. You think about it because we go back to looking at children, right? That's a core. What did you say earlier? That's when a child is closest to their
spiritual self.
Spiritual self at a child's age, right? When you think about kids ask a lot of questions. One, because they're curious, they don't know. There's no ego involved. And then sometimes, depending on how old they get, they may just ask questions just to challenge you on what you said. But I think there's a lot of power in asking the right questions. But as adults, we've gotten away from questions, and now we just formed our own answers of everything, rather than just starting to ask ourselves, why? But anyway, there's a lot of things you can learn from kids. But when I think about my wife that's pregnant now, for 9 months, man, for those months, for that 7, 8, 9 months, a child is for us, before we came into this world, we are in dark isolation by ourselves. Before you got introduced to anything else, that was where you were at. That was a space that you was operating in, and the power in that. And as we get older, we get away from that, right? Because we're busy. We don't sit still, and sitting still is afraid. I mean, it's scary, right? Because it makes you really take inventory. But just seeing her in that process right now and thinking about the importance of going back into the dark and then knowing when to come out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, but PJ, man, we could talk for days about all this. I know we can. We want to be. So currently, as you went through that transition with the monastery, and really getting back to the origin, of who you are, and how you operating in life. What made you put the book together, and what are you currently involved in now?
So what made me put the book together, man? You know, I wanted to write something for us athletes. You know, for my younger self, for the younger athlete. You know, and for the athlete that's in between and the athlete that's after the game. And so, you know, in mind, what I had in mind was, you know, giving something to, being able to give something to the athlete that they can use to help master themselves and be the best in their sport that they participate in. So that's why I came up with the book called Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, and then mastering the balance between power and peace. Because a lot of times we spoke about it, you know, like we think power is just that's what we got to do as ball. We just got to power through everything. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You know, just power. But if you have too much power, you be straight up destructive. You know, you'll destroy everything, and then look back and be like, oh man, try to justify. You know, you're too peaceful. You know, you're gonna get ran over. You're too submissive. You just, you know, that's that whole like, you know, like, yeah, I'm a monk, but yeah, but for me, I didn't want it to be like, yeah, like, you know, I lived at a monastery. I lived the monastic life. I, you know, walked around saying peace to, you know, the brothers and sisters, not killing our small brothers and sisters, the insects, and, you know, and letting them live, you know, just understanding life at a very intimate and deep level. But at the same time, I played ball. I played one of the most volatile sports ever. Right now, so that's still in me. So, you know, you got to learn how to master the balance between your power and your peace. Right, and so just basically what you were speaking about, Edgar, earlier, about how, you know, teaching our athletes to know themselves. It's okay to know yourself, even though, you know, they might throw that carrot out in front of you, and you know, you don't want to get too deep in learning about, you know, yourself, or learning about this, or learning about that, because you're afraid that you might get cut, or they may say something to you like you too conscious and whatever else. Man, look, you got to be you. You know, get your money. They using you for a reason. You use them. Be smart. Learn about you, but don't lose you. You know, in the process. So that's the reason why I was inspired to write the book, man. Because I was talking to my younger self, and I wanted everyone to, or at least avoid that dark space. You know, avoid having those suicidal thoughts, those suicide attempts. You know, just that depression. Like, and if you actually go through it, well, this is the way to help you get out of it. You know, so it was just a guide, a manual for individuals to follow, so that way they can, you know, excel and be the best individual that they want to be, man. So just writing that book was very therapeutic. You know, just helped me. Just get everything out, and also share my skills, like the things that work for me, that allow for me to reach a very high level. So then it just, you know, spilled over into what I'm doing right now, you know, and what I'm doing right now is just coaching. That's one of my biggest things. I coach from professional athletes, so current players, former players, entertainers, CEOs, executives. You know, I coach them. You know, I f they mind up, man. You know, and but they love it, because they think it's, you know, initially they probably think, you know, oh, former player, you know, what can they teach me? And then, you know, they realize, like, man, this dude, he deep in it. I live this. I live this each and every day. So, you know, like, what I said to myself, everybody in the world, not everybody, but there's a lot of people in the world that are screaming, "Ho, bitch, fuck this, that," you know, just toxic stuff. So I was just like, how about I just start screaming, meditate, stay positive, stay loving, love yourself. How about I scream it out like that, and I make it sound cool, and I make it sound inspiring, even though I know, a lot of people are reluctant to hear it, or there's some resistance. I still do it because who else is doing it? Like I want to do it like that, and that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I do, man. The coaching, I have memberships, man. I'm writing more books. I'm just reminding people. I'm just that echo. Like, hey, man, find yourself. Find who you are. Love yourself more. You think you love yourself, but you don't even love. You don't even know how much you don't love yourself. Talk to yourself in the most positive way ever. Like, wake up in the morning and create a positive aura for yourself, because when you go out into this world, it's negativity. So that means you got to say I love you at least 25 to 100 times. But when you first wake up in the morning, not grab your iPhone, not grab something else to get your attention, to divert your attention to something else, but put your attention on you. Build up that positive aura, build up that self-confidence, because fear exists in the mind, but courage and confidence, it resides in the heart. So you gotta build that confidence, and that's you talking to your heart, loving your heart. You look, the heart is the first organ that is created in the body, the very first organ, and it beats from your inception to the day you die. Like, that's how hard your heart works, and we don't even say thank you. Like, you have to be mindful and conscious of that, man, because when it stops, that's it. But if your brain stops, your heart can still beat, so you can still stay alive. So, the thing is be mindful of how powerful the heart is, man. And so, yeah, that's what I do now, man. And I speak, everywhere, man. So, I'm just a ball of inspiration, man. Just reminding people, like, look, there's nothing that you cannot do, man. Nothing is impossible unless you believe it is. And like Courtney said, he capitalized the Y-O-U, I capitalized and I emphasize that you. Nothing or no thing is impossible unless you believe it is. And sometimes you have to, not sometimes, but a lot of times you have to learn how to live in the realm of possibilities. Because a lot of times we speak things into existence before they can possibly happen. We're like, oh, no, that ain't for me, or I'm nervous, or I couldn't do this, or I can't do that. You say that, you preface your sentence before you can take the action. Like, if you see something, whether it's hard, challenging, whatever it may be, you're going to preface it by like, oh, man, that look hard. Man, that's going to be tough. And so right away, boom, you just created the tough and hard and challenging situation. But if you don't even preface anything, you don't say nothing. You just do it. You just leave with action, right? That sentence, like, I'm going to conquer this, or not even conquer, but I'm going to go give my 100%, and I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to make the best out of this situation and this opportunity. Then that's what you're going to do, because the action follows the words. You were speaking about darkness. We all start from darkness. Look at the Bible. In the beginning, there was void. There was nothingness. There was darkness, and then there was a vibration, a frequency. Let there be light. Boom, boom. All of a sudden, there's light. Bang. That's what happens when a baby travels through that tunnel. Boom, now it's light. Like, what? I'm in a new world. So, like, this is recreated. So if it began as let there be light, it started off as void, and then darkness, and let there be light, then guess what? The same process is being recreated. So as it's being recreated, every time it's recreated, you have to learn how to become more aware of who you are, what you're doing, and where you are in life. So I'm a coach. I'm a high performance mentor. I work with athletes on resilience training, entertainers, and everyone else with strategic mindset as well. And so That's what I'm doing right now. I appreciate you letting me share in that, man.
It's great. You mentioned that recreation process happening over and over again. When we rebirthed again, we come from darkness into light. It's one thing, important thing, because Edgar kicked it off talking about his new baby. You just mentioned it again. The first thing that starts is their heart, beats on, right? We're born. The most amazing thing about parturition to me, about the whole gestation period and then coming through parturition, is that you're living inside that darkness, right? You're inside amniotic sac, which has fluid in it. So you're actually breathing in fluid. The umbilical cord helps you, but you're breathing in fluid the whole time. And as soon as you're born and you breathe in air, you can't live in that fluid no more. So what you needed to get you to that point can now kill you. Everybody needs to understand that when you do reach this realization and you start following this higher self, some stuff you're gonna have to let go. You can't, that stuff he's talking about, all this toxic stuff, whole bitch, this, that, and the other, right? Sometimes it don't have a place in this new you, it'll kill you. You can't have it no more. You gotta go on, right? And you thinking to yourself, I needed it all this time, so it must be good. The places you used to go, some of the people, a lot of this stuff has to get pruned, has to get cut off in order for you to keep growing. Because if you don't, this new you will die, it'll kill it, and you'll be back to that again. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's very important. You speak about balance. That's like the most important thing. We can't exist without it, right? If the oxygen molecules are offset just a bit, we die.
Go to Mars, you'll see.
Go to Mars, you'll see. If the ozone layer, if the sun, if we get too much sunlight, too many UV rays get through, we burn up. It's got to be, everything is perfectly balanced, right? Now in that balance, you can be an extreme either way, right? Water can become ice. It can also become steam, right? And it's a use for all. We need ice to cool our drinks off. We need water to bath. We need steam to iron and cook and all this different stuff. But that's how powerful you are. Just that, in that little analogy, that's how powerful we all are. If you can become aware and master the avatar, you can do all that, right? You can be either of those. The thing about it is to figure it out. A lot of times, the only way we figure out water can do all this stuff is through what? Putting it through extreme pressure. Extreme cold freezes it. Extreme heat makes it go this way, but balance right in the middle. It's just free flowing water. You get to turn that on too. You know what I'm saying? We've learned how to deliberately put adversity in front of us these days, just to strengthen it, right? I'm sure you know it already. When Prince gets comfortable, I guarantee you now Prince creates a new challenge. So Prince can grow again and grow more. That's just how it is. Once you start tapping into that, you understand that, okay, it's something else I need to do. So let me create quote unquote adversity. But if you don't tell yourself it's that mental paradigms, you mentioned that, how you say stuff, right? I don't call things problems, I call them privileges, right? I don't call things challenges, I call them chances. It's about creating this wellness is action. It's not just a word or a sense of, you said being, or the being is action. You mentioned not being a human doer anymore, becoming a human being. That's an action. You have to have this maintenance plan set up for self, for mental, for self. You can't just get up every day, jump in your car, you don't fill up with gas, you never get the oil change, you never do all this stuff. We do it with our bodies. We get up, we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we put on deodorant, we bathe at night, we do all this stuff. And you neglect to do that same thing with the mental. You gotta keep, he said it earlier, you gotta keep telling yourself certain things. You gotta form this habit. You gotta keep doing it over and over again. If you don't have that maintenance plan for it, it can falter, it can fail. You got a maintenance plan for the bad stuff. I'm gonna stay in bed. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna be negative. You know what I'm saying? That ain't for me to do. Anything you see, I tell Edgar all the time, somebody said, you know what? I think a highway should go right here. And now we driving cars on the interstate, going to wherever we need to go to. Somebody said it's like a good place for an airport over there, right? And there's an airport sitting over there and all these people use it. Somebody said, oh, it's an airport there. I need to put a train system inside of for people to get to one side to the other. And it happened. Anything you can see, you can do it. We know it's possible because somebody already did it. So it can be done. But like you said, if you tell yourself, if you preface it with if you put that in the beginning, something's gonna be kind of off because you decided it, you made that decision.
You create that internal conflict. You create the internal conflict, man.
Yep.
And that's when you just battling yourself, battling it uphill. Like that's the worst. And you created it.
Yeah, you created it. Hey, you telling yourself somebody else is the opposition. They don't. That's one of the things I hate to hear, especially from our people. We taught ourselves this. Oh, they don't want us to. They ain't gonna let us. First of all, who is they? They don't have any control. It's you. The whole time it's you. You know what I'm saying? It's your decision. Now, the only way we got to this way of thinking is because we had to go through something to figure it out. All a part of the process, right? Your story is what your story is because of that time when you was a few minutes away, when you in your last few minutes. That's the part that makes your story good. We don't want to just go to the movies and see a happy story. The whole thing happy, right? It don't mean nothing, right? And that's what we're talking about, balance. Balance is law that cannot be transgressed. You like to watch movies. I got that from a movie Edgar told me to watch a while back. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but he said that part. I remember that. Balance is the law that cannot be transgressed. It can't. I got a friend that just got a promotion at work, and he finally got into Rice Business School. He's been trying to get into business school for 6-7 years. He wakes up the next morning after he finds out he's about to start this new job Monday. He cranks up his truck. He hears this crazy sound. I mean, where's that coming from? Going in the hood, somebody cut his catalytic converter out because they stealing them now. You know what I'm saying? And he was upset about it. I say, hey, man, balance is law that can't be transgressed. At the onset of something great, that means negative energies got to stir up too and try to get you to focus on it. But you hold that decision. And if you focus on that, you'll forget that I got insurance, right? I got the money to go get a rental. I had this new job starting Monday. I finally got into something I wanted to get into. You can omit all of that if you focus on the negative, right? So it's there, yin and yang, right? You got the little line in the middle. It's about where you want to stay, right? But you want to tap into this light side a little more than that dark side and make it and lead with that, right? But if you decide to focus on it, it's over there for you at all times. All the stuff that Prince is doing now, right? If he wanted to, PJ can focus on that other side. But he killed PJ. Not necessarily he's dead. He beat him though, right? And now he's
I killed them off. Oh, you're right. I killed them off.
Reborn. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna give it back to Edgar because this will be a 4-hour episode if I don't PJ start back.
Man, I
interject.
Yeah, may I interject? Man, no, man, it's been so much said. Prince, I just want to say I'm proud of you, man. I really am, bro. I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful and I'm happy. And it is a joy to see the space that you operate now in your life, man, and where you at, and that you did not give over to that other side and take your life. We typically don't do this. This is actually our first time ever doing this. But if you could give someone some words that's listening right now, if there was something you could say to them before we get ready to close out, what would that be?
Just what I just said.
Breathe.
That's it. You know, like words, dilute like feeling and meaning. And it dilutes the energy. So it's just if I had words to give, it wouldn't be any words. It would just be like just exhale and then inhale, because that's all that you got. Breath is the key to life. If you breathing, you alive. If you not breathing, you dead. I want to tell you, I embrace that. Thank you for saying that you're proud of me, man. And two, I'm proud of you and I love you. I appreciate you. I don't think we say that enough in public. Without it having any type of like negative connotation, right? But it's something that we definitely need to say, because those are healing words. Those are words of that build you up, and especially being in a sport that's so violent, right? Where we train to tear each other down, beat each other up, fight each other, like for no reason. That's because when you put pit bulls in a cage, that they're gonna do what their natural instinct is taught to do, what they're taught to do. And so when we're put in that type of environment, that's what we do. But man, I just want to say that I'm proud of you and I love you and I appreciate you, man, just for this platform. You and your cousin, man, you and Courtney, just y'all kings, man, and I appreciate that. But like, to everybody that's listening, take that breath. Because the thing is, we take breaths automatically, like without having to ask our body for permission. We do that. But instead of reacting, take that moment just to breathe, because that creates space. And when you create space, you have an opportunity to make a decision, a conscious decision, or not even or an unconscious decision, but you will feel what the right thing is, even if you don't have the answer. Like Courtney was talking about names earlier. He was just like, I just named my child this because that's just how I felt. You got to tap into your intuition. You got to get to know you, and a lot of things that we feel, if it feels good, then go with it. But not everything that you don't want to get caught up in everything that feels good, But you just be mindful of the things that feel good and that are good for you. That's going to help you evolve. So my words are silence, and it's just a gesture of, and see how that small action can make a big difference. I want to say this. Another thing. Here's another thing. Stop thinking so dang on small. I'll tell you what I mean by that. I give you perspective. You go to, just if you look at us, we be like, we'll be like, wow, okay, I'm big or I'm small, but the basketball player, that dude big, man, he big. Basketball player can go to an elephant and be like, dang, that elephant big, man. Elephant can go to a dolphin. I mean, not a dolphin, but a whale. Elephant go to a whale and be like, dang, that whale big. A whale go to a mountain and be like, man, that mountain big. A mountain look at the earth and be like, the earth is big. The earth, 1,000,000 earths can fit inside the sun. Let me say that one more time. 1,000,000 earths can fit inside the sun. We don't even know how big Earth is. We cannot take an object and put it close to Earth and be like, oh, that's how big Earth is. Like your mind can't even fathom that. And if we don't even know how big one Earth is, 1,000,000 Earths can fit inside the sun. 1,000,000. So that means if you go near the sun, you're gonna be like, You can't even fathom that. So I say that to say your small level of thinking has to grow at some point in time. You have to be able to see beyond, than what you can see. And a lot of times you got to use your imagination, which we got away from once we became older. And so you build that imagination, rebuild it through your practice of mindfulness and meditation and awareness. Because once you start to look within, you gotta remember we connected to everything. We connected to every single thing. And so the more you connect with your inner self, man, the more you start to realize that, who you are, what you are. When people ask me, they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm nothing, but I'm everything." They be like, "What?" It's like one of those conversations again. Egg like, "What? What you talking about, dog? Like, what?" I was like, "I'm nothing, but I'm everything." Because we came from nothing. But we fill ourselves up with everything. Our spiritual diet, our mental diet, our physical diet. That's what we fill ourselves up with. But remember, we are reborn every single night. We wake up in the morning, we a clean slate. We nothing. But we fill ourselves up with everything. Let me get what my phone say. Got a text message. Ooh, let me answer that. Got an email. Let me answer that. Let me do this. How many likes did I get on social media? I put that post up. I put everything into that post. Dang, I only got how many likes, man? F this stuff, man. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. Let me look at it again. Let me see. Did they like something else? Who else liked it? Man, we just fill ourselves up with so much stuff, but in reality, we are nothing. But we're everything, man. So just be mindful of what you put into yourself, what your mental diet is, what your physical diet is, what your spiritual diet is. And, like to all my listeners out there, I say all my listeners, to all your listeners and all the listeners out there, just be mindful of that and just remember the breath is the key to life. It is life, If you're not breathing, you're dead. If you're breathing, you are alive. So I appreciate that.
I challenge everybody to go look up the word spirit. Look up the etymology of the word spirit. It literally means breath or to breathe. Spirit.
Ooh.
That's the Latin meaning of it. And then the crazy thing about what he just said is 1 million Earths going to the sun, and the sun ain't even the biggest star in the universe. So it's even bigger than what you can imagine. It's mental paradigms. That means the possibilities are infinite. Depends on how you're looking at it, right? Dang, I need to make $1 million, or all I got to do is make $1 million. How you say it, right? We can go to a rich man. I can call some of my partners back home and give them $5,000 to hit their account. Man, I got $5,000, and a rich man could think, man, I only got $5,000. Mental paradigm is what you put on it, right? I teach my son whenever he's getting out of control, or he's hurt, or he's angry about something. I say, what you need to do? He say, breathe. Right? Connect back with that spirit, because that's what it is. Our spirit is breath. They came up with that word, and we stretched it over time because a breath is something. I felt it hit my hand, but I can't see it. The wind hits you, we can't see it. I can feel your vibe across through a Zoom call. How amazing is that? Think about that, right? That we all in different states, I'm assuming. Y'all might be in the same state. We're in different locations, but we're sitting here looking and talking, and what you say can inflict feeling in me, and the look that you have, right? Eye contact from here, we can feel that. That's how powerful we are. That spirit, that's our vibration. So thank you for telling our people that, your people that, right? They are your listeners, right? For telling them that, man. And we also appreciate you for sharing your time that exists and don't exist. So I say we appreciate you for sharing your energy, right? Because time is also a figment of our imagination. It don't really exist. Right now, the only thing that really exists, and then it's over with instantly, right? The future
That's
don't.
it.
It's
Right
all about
now.
right now.
Right
It's about
now.
making that next right decision every time is what's gonna lead you to your better self. And that better self changes. It keeps going out in front of you. You keep chasing it. At the end of the day, you'll be your best, right? All boils down to a decision. Boils down to staying balanced. So we appreciate you, and we also would like to say anybody that you think can come on and be a good guest on this type of platform, right? We ask that you pass the word on and let them know. I also want to say thank you for being an inspiration to us, because some of the things you're doing is what we're striving to do with this illuminated and thought motivational movement that we started. So kudos to you for jumping out. I'm never afraid to ask for help, or to watch somebody else that looks like me that's doing something and say, man, how do we do this? How do we do that? So I'm letting you know, I'll probably be reaching out. I'm sure you and Elga talk all the time, but that's what we want to do, because the more of this that's happening, we talked about that earlier, about balance, right? Right now it's offset. You said it earlier, there's way more people hollering all this toxic stuff, the music, the different stuff we see, and way less of us. Only way to build this up, especially in our communities, people to see people who look like us, who've been in similar situations, come from the same places, actually talking about positivity and tapping into your mental and being your best self. And the only way to do this is if we multiply on this side, right, to combat that on the other side. So any info you have for us, we'll be sponges. We'll take it up. Like I said, anybody that you think would be a good fit to come on and share this platform with us, please let us know and reach out and help make it happen. And I'm proud of you, and I love you too, right? We don't have to. We just met today. There's something else people got to know. Sometimes you can feel it. I'm an empath, right? You can feel it. And since Elga loves you and we're all connected, I love you. I used to be a real destructive kid. Elga can tell you I kill anything moving. I don't know more. You know what I'm saying? Because I tapped into that and I realized everything's balanced. If you didn't have the right amount of worms, ants, plants, we couldn't even breathe. We couldn't even walk on soil. The earth wouldn't hold it. The soil beneath us wouldn't hold itself up. Wouldn't be aerated enough without every single thing that's going on happening together all at once. That's the balance we're speaking on. So everything is connected. I just want to touch on that. Anyway, I'm gonna pass.
I love you too, bro, and I'm proud of you too, man. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, PJ, love you too, bro. The mindfulness of the ultimate athlete. I'm honestly gonna recommend. That ain't a book just for an athlete. I think that's a book for.
I bought it.
Yeah,
it had made it. I mean,
I think that's a book for.
It's down my list. I don't mean to cut you off. It's down the list because I got a few things I need to read, but I bought it anyway. One, just because there's something else we need to do, and that's the only reason I'm interrupting Edgar right now. But supporting each other as people of color is something that we have kind of failed to do over time and been conditioned not to do. So as soon as Edgar said, all he had to do was say, my friend, hey man, he's like a brother to me, wrote a book. He sent me the screenshot. As soon as he sent it, I went and on Amazon and purchased it.
It was too good, bro.
Yeah, it's back. Anyway, it'll be back on there. Anyway, I bought it. It's on the way. I have it here tomorrow. We recommend it to everybody. Elga, my bad for interrupting, but go ahead.
No, it's all good. PJ, so outside of individuals buying your book, which everybody listen, man, go out and go support my brother, man. Go buy it. This guy's heart is in the right place. Just go out and support him. What other ways can individuals support and get involved in what you're doing?
Man, thank you for asking that. Well, you can go to my website and check out what I do. It's at www.princedanielsjr.com. or go to my website and my foundation website, because I also work with the kids as well, the youth. I work with homeless youth and underserved youth, teaching them about financial literacy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can go there, check that out, or you can go to Game Beyond the Game. We're looking to have an event. We're gonna start it back up with Game Beyond the Game and have a 2-day event sometime in March, where it's gonna have a lot of athletes, entertainers. We get together and we work on the things that we need to work on in terms of transition, in terms of purpose, in terms of vision, in terms of just following those things and following your path that was created for you, and just knowing how to go about and do that, man. So you can look up Game Beyond the Game. You can look up my foundation, which is 4lbufoundation.org, or you can go to my website at princedanielsjr.com. Just get involved. You know, I'm looking to make an impact on the world. So yeah, I'm not looking to change the world. I'm looking to impact the world, because this world was already here before I came here. So, but I have learned how to change myself and how I perceive and see things. That's another thing. And then the last thing I want to say is I'm a leader, but I'm not a leader. You know, leaders in the past used to always get assassinated, especially the ones with melanin in their skin. And so my deal is, instead of being one leader, we gonna create a lot of leaders in this world, so that way they can't just assassinate everybody. They gonna have, because you know, consciousness has to be given to the next individual so they can carry the torch and keep it going. So just keep that in mind, man. Everybody is a leader. We're all the leaders, but we got to make sure that we learn how to lead by example. That's the best way to lead. So I just want to share that with everyone. Just let everyone know I appreciate your support. So thank you, guys.
We appreciate you, man. Go out and go support Prince. Thank you again, brother, for coming on. Love you.
Love you too, bro.
I'm just excited, dude. I'm excited about the things that's happening right now. That's unseen. That's taking place. Yes,
man. Make sure you get Courtney my number and everything, my info, man. And let us all stay connected. Just put us in the text thread, man. Let us all stay connected. I already know we're gonna have some good, great conversations, man. So I got money for you too, Courtney. You know, that sermon, boy.
Send it to me. Your money no good here.
We have watched from the mountains. We have listened in disgust by the way that you use your technological advancements.
No, I'm bad.
But it's all seen by a child who was scoffed for tradition. And now you want to hand your nation over to this prince who couldn't keep his own father safe. I said, we are not having it so. I said, we will not have it so. That is why I, Mbaku, leader of the... I accept your challenge, Mbaku.
This is the late code.
Hey, I see it behind. Oh, that was Baltimore. It looked like Wakanda forever. Hey, we lit. We out.
Yeah.